I'd love to talk to you about all kinds of issues that may be operating a little bit under the radar that are really impactful to your life. And this is one of them. I've been talking to you about community solar, and I wanted to have a conversation with a representative that's sponsoring a bill on community solar. Talk to him about what that bill involves, why it would be important to rural Iowa. And that is Representative Hans Wilz, who's here. He's from Ottumwa, and he's in the studio. I said Han, didn't I? See, I like to. We're German, and so I like to get it right. He's in the Hy-Vee studio. Representative Wilz, it is great to talk with you. How are you?
Talk about different things and the all-above energy approach that our state is taking to diversify our energy, our need, our use, and also some private investment, which is really what community solar is. But I do appreciate the fact that you said my name correctly. We met at a pie auction.
We met
3 years ago.
We were talking off the air, and he goes, "Now, do you remember when you first met me?" I said, "It was some event," and you're like, "Pie auction," and I said, "How did I forget that?"
Yeah, I was the auctioneer. I think you bought the most. Anyway, Jeff.
Probably. Anyway, yeah, I like the fact that what you immediately did was we're talking a lot about energy policy on the federal level, and you may lose sight of the fact that we're talking a lot about energy policy at the state level.
Absolutely.
As well, there's a state role, and community solar is one of those issues that's come up during this session. Tell me about it. How does it work?
I think the best way to look at it, is, again, you could always buy solar panels for your house, but not everybody has $30,000 at their discretionary funding to go do that.
Right.
And of course, it was a new concept and it got expensive. This is a way for all Iowans to be able to participate in a solar program that is of no really cost to them. It benefits the landowner. It'll benefit tax base. There's no interconnection cost. These are all questions that will come across through the course of this bill. But really, ultimately, for me, it was giving Iowans, consumers, a choice if they want to participate at a level to receive energy credits. It's a choice they make based on their own financial background, what they have available, and what they see as a return. To me, it's a win-win. There's a lot of people on both sides of the issue, and that's why they put a legislator in the middle to try to find out the middle ground.
Well, it's community solar. So as you said, getting into solar seems expensive for the individual. So how does this work?
So basically, you've got a company that comes in, and they cannot build anything larger than a 5 megawatt on any kind of ground, farm ground, if you will, commercial ground, and they can't build anything bigger than a 20 megawatt on brownfield, which is really unusable ground, which is a really great place for it. But it allows for the property owner to make decisions. It puts in smaller sites. So these are like 25 to 30 acres at their biggest if they got to that 5 megawatt top of the line, if you will. But they're not all that size, and they can be put in smaller areas, usually on ground that's not as farmable. But then on top of that, the added benefit, if you want to talk about, we're Iowans. We have farm ground. Iowa State's done amazing studies and have got great results on growing alternative crops underneath these panels. So I think there's a next generation after this energy conversation to say this ground is usable. Maybe it's not corn and soybeans,
right? But
it could be an alternative crop, which, a diversification of your crop and use of the soil is very important in Iowa. We found that there's some studies going on right now underneath these panels that are already out there, that ground that was no good is getting better because of the amendments that were used and the different kind of crops that are grown underneath it right now. So there's an added benefit.
The farmer gets paid to have these solar panels on their land, and then the community can access it. Is that possible now, or is that why we need legislation?
It's out there in the co-op lands, if you will, and they were like early instigators of this. This is going to be only on Mid-American and Alliant ground or service territories. Only in those two areas, and you can subscribe to it, so you buy a portion of it. And then you get the energy credits back. The best example I could use is this is just using fake numbers, but if you invest $100 as being a subscriber and you get $140 worth of credits, that's a good investment. And that's a choice you can make on your own. That's an investment you want to make, saying I want to be a part of this green solar and I want the energy credits. I want to receive 10% off my bill. And that's about what the average is. They'll say anywhere between 7 to 20%, but I would say the average is 10% savings energy credit on your bill.
Okay, you're listening to Representative Hans Wilz of Ottumwa. He's going to laugh every time I do his name right, but we're Germans. We got to do that. But, okay, so Representative, what does the legislature need to do to make this all happen?
I mean, obviously, we've got a bill out there. I've been working on it for the entire session. In fact, the past couple sessions to find, common ground for everybody. And you're never going to find that, but we're doing our best. I think we'll have a conversation in caucus today. We'll have a conversation amongst the people underneath that dome at the Capitol. Right now, as you can see, it went through sub 3-0, went through committee at 23-0. So right now it's undefeated.
Okay.
But I think we'll have stronger conversations about everything possible, and that's the idea. That's what we need to do, and we'll get to the floor hopefully and be able to push this on. Now, this is the horse that's riding on with the saddle. We sent it over to the Senate.
Okay.
When we pass this, and they're going to need to put a jockey on this horse to get it to the finish line.
All right. So where do I go for more information about this? I think this is a concept when you're talking about energy independence and independence in regard to having a choice in energy. I think it's something that Iowans want to get involved with, but where would they go for more information?
I mean, I don't want to put it out there for people to actually go to something like a Grok or an AI.
Yeah,
but it's really not a bad place to start if you know nothing about it.
Yeah.
But you can go to the Legis website, the Iowa Legis website, and you look up House File 404.
404.
Yeah, that's for you to do your studying, to read the bill first. But you're absolutely welcome to reach out to me, and that's hans.wilz@legis.iowa.com. It's easier to spell than it is to say, Jeff.
I know. Hans this is what it is, but he did have to spell it out for you. Representative, it's a pleasure. I know when you come back, we're going to have you on again in the future because you're doing a lot of key work with Doge in Iowa, Iowa's own version of that. I know you're involved in that. I want to talk to you about that.
Yeah, I'm the chairperson for the Sub-Appropriation Committee for the Federal Funds and Others. And of course, I've been speaking with the governor and different people up at the State House to work on that. And possibly I'll be a part of that Doge program as well.
Okay, sounds good. So I just gave you a tease that he's coming back. It's like a Netflix series. I just teased you. You got to come back for episode 2.
Let's hope I don't get canceled.
You're not. You're on. You're absolutely on.